Hey, what's up? It's Kit. Time for another video. Today, we've just finished our session and I just thought of actually doing a short shore jigging tutorial for you guys. I'm not gonna say what happened in the video, but you know, there's quite a few things that happen, and as I'm going through the motions, I'm trying to actually tell you guys exactly what I'm doing, but it's kind of impossible to actually capture everything that I am doing. So I know that there are a few things that I do that might not be vocalized. So if you notice something, give me the timestamp and then tell me or ask me what the reason is for me doing that, and then I can explain. So that would help. But yeah, I mean, you know, the session here was just to make a video, show you guys the gear that I use. One place that I actually fish a lot, although this particular area I haven't really explored, because when I fish, okay, let me show you guys. So when I fish here and I go all the way over to the end, but not to the other side unless I'm on a kayak, because I kind of don't like walking towards this place. So it's kind of new territory, and rightfully so, because I wanted to do a video on exactly how I kind of break down the place. Although this place, I know that a lot of people would say that I'm fishing in paradise, so trust me guys, it's not as easy as you think it is. It's not easy at all, actually. And yeah, so I hope you like the video and enjoy. Okay, so our rig is pretty simple. That's just a 10-gram jig para, and we have P.8 as our line, 10-pound leader. That's all we're going to be using. Okay, our drag check. Okay, all right, so I think we're gonna catch a queen on this one. Cast out. Okay, that's where they were. Now, there's a few basic things for shore jigging that you should remember. Firstly is that let your jig sink, okay? There's this really big hurry. You know, a lot of people rush things, so just let it settle on the bottom before you move it, okay? And then work your jig slow, okay? Remember, this reel is extremely fast, and small fish don't really move super fast, so just chill, okay? They're very simple fishing method, really, and most important thing there is the pause, okay? Always give it a pause, and that'll give it time to actually kind of flutter down. So just remember. Okay, now we're going to where the fish are boiling so that I can at least show you guys a fish or two. Now, how I rig this is I actually rig the eye of the jig, rig on the eye of the jig and not at the split ring, because what I want to do is have my assist hook fall like so. Okay, so they're way over there. Just gonna walk a bit. There's some fish here, and you could see them swimming around and stuff. So when you're fishing in an area where you kind of don't know, what you do is actually just look at the terrain, look at the surface of the water, look at the activities and all that. to tell you honestly, I haven't really fished this area a lot. In fact, it was only when we were ultralight fishing that I walked this way, because I always fished the opposite end. Now if you're looking at the water right there, you'll see that there's some ripples, and those are fish swimming around the current line. And what we want to do in this instance right here is to just kind of look at the activity. Okay, those are queens, more than likely. Probably mullet. Okay, so we could hang around here. There we go. It's probably some mullet. There are a lot of fish activity here, but more towards the other side. So what we want to do is just first clean up our jig, and then cast as far as we can towards the other side and see if we can actually get some fish interested. So for a 10 gram to cast that far, it's actually pretty decent. Very, very important to have a balanced rod and reel for shore jigging, especially because you want distance and sensitivity. So rod choice, reel choice, line choice, very, very important. Jig choice is kind of secondary when it comes to that. Now for light shore jigging, what you want is a combo that's light enough for you to use the whole day without getting fatigued. That's why it's very important to get a light rod, light reel, and a really good line, because those three are, I gotta strike. Those three are probably what will affect your fishing a lot for pretty much the whole day. So what I do, especially when I'm investigating or prospecting, whatever you want to call it, is just cast out, move a few steps, cast out, see if I get a response or not. More than likely, when the fish are there in your first few casts, especially on your first or second, actually, you'll know if they're there, because they will respond, especially to something as small as a jig like this. Okay, again, cast out as far as you can, let it drop. When there's a bit of wind, what you want to do is point your rod tip towards the water so that your braid actually doesn't get taken by the wind, and it'll give you a lot more slack line. So you don't want that. What you want is to be as tight to your jig as possible. So this one went pretty far, and as soon as it landed, I dropped my rod tip down to the water so that the line is very close to the water, and then as soon as it hits the water, the wind doesn't affect it anymore. Because if you let the wind affect the line, what happens is that your first few turns are going to be loose, and that creates wind knots. Okay, so these jigs are so light, but your whole combo is so sensitive that when your jig actually snags on your leader, you would be able to feel it. So take note that when your jig starts behaving kind of different, that it might have snagged your line. All right, so now we're towards the bend of the frond here, and this is where we saw the fish activity earlier. What we want to do is line ourselves up here, palm security on the other side right there. All right, so what we want to do is line ourselves up to the bend. You can see that this is where it starts, and it kind of forms like a bay. We're just gonna start prospecting here. If you look closely, the water flow is actually kind of different. The water flow here is kind of strong from the rest of the place. Looks like Dan's already caught something. Queens. Small queenies. 10 grams is a very good place to start for any jig brand. Right now we're using Major Craft Jig Para. But for any jig brand, 10 grams is always a very good place to start with for like light shore jigging. I mean, for me, 10 grams is actually the most versatile weight there is. You could use the slows, you could use the normals, the slim ones, the wide ones. We're using the Jig Para wide for this. It's a very good cross between a fast and a slow jig, because it is basically a fluttering fast jig. So what it does is it slowly flutters just like a slow jig, but it gives you a lot of action when you jerk it, just like a fast jig would. Slow jigs, generally when you're fishing them in shore slow, what it does is you're actually catching a lot of fish on the way down. So as you actually work it down, not while you're working it towards you, that's when you get most of the fish. So when your rod tip goes down, not when your rod tip goes up. Whereas with this type of jig, fluttering fast jigs, wide ones, wide short ones, what happens is you get a lot of action going down and a lot of action when you jerk it as well. So very good compromise, because you can fast it slow, you can fast it quite rapidly. That's why I think that they're actually some of the most versatile jigs that you could use. Okay, if you look at my rod tip, how I work it, okay, it's just slow jerks, short jerks, just like that. You don't have to go really fast. Like I mentioned, It's such a small jig that you don't want to over jerk it. Okay, putting too much action on this sort of thing actually scares fish. So just pull it lightly and it'll dance. Also, the Twin Power XD, this is the old model and they only came as XGs. And XGs are perfect, I would say, not very good, but perfect for light shore jigging. Because for light shore jigging, what you want is to take out as much of the slack out of your line as fast as possible. And remember, you're casting good distances, and what you want is to eliminate all that slack as fast as possible. So you want a reel that gives you the ability to take as much of the slack off as possible. You only start fishing as soon as all the slack is gone. That is very, very important. No strikes yet. Okay, another thing that you could do with this reel or this lure is just to reel it at a medium pace and it'll swim. Work it like a spoon sort of. Now, when you reach the shallows, all you have to do is actually just take your rod tip high up and you'll see that it actually swims really well. Nice side to side. There was a small queenfish that tried to grab the jig right there. But it swims with a very seductive side to side motion. Kind of like a spoon. So this is a, again, like I said, it's a very versatile jig. Most 10-gram jigs are actually. Since most jigs are shaped the same, you know, except for slow jigs where the shape is quite radically different from these fish-shaped or teardrop-shaped lures. This one's a leaf shape actually, more of a leaf shape. Man, okay. It's like the fish disappeared. Anyway, irregardless, what I wanted to do was just to show you guys the basic technique, stuff that I actually use and how I do things. Anyway, even if we don't catch anything, what I wanted to do was just to show you guys basic idea of how I do things, what my setup is. I know I showed something like, I think I showed a couple of my light shore jigging rods and reels, but I wanted to show you how I use them. So, give you a couple of tips. Oh yeah, we're on. We got one. Not big, but we got one. So they're really at the bend. I don't know what fish this is, but it feels weird. Kind of like a grouper. So I fight with the rod tip up, especially with the ledge here, just so the fish does not take me to the ledge or my line actually going to the sand. What is this? kind of kind of woke up there. So we have a 10-foot rod, but we're still actually maneuvering the oh, it's a barracuda. Oh no, holy crap, it's a king. So right there we have a kingfish, and just like that we have a nice dinner, boys. All right, so yeah, you saw how simple that was. All right, we better actually take this fish. So this is perfectly actually acceptable to take this fish. I know they get bigger, okay, but this fish we call kobat, this size here, and very good table fare. So what we're gonna do is actually take this fish and put it out of its misery. But yeah, I'm glad to actually have shown you this, and I'll see you guys in a bit. Okay, so the light is fading, kind of hard to film. We have our rod and reel stowed there. I'm glad that we were able to do a one take of everything. So that pretty much was one take. We basically went out there, I showed you how I did things and stuff, and then well, and we caught a fish. So hopefully this is something that you've learned from. I know there's a few tips in there for you guys, so watch everything over and over again so that you could actually pick up. There's a lot of, I know my cousin actually told me that there's a lot of things I do that I don't really vocalize. So I'm pretty sure that you'll notice a few things there. Even if I try to break everything down, I know that I've missed a few things. So if you guys have questions, just comment below. And yeah, that's it. So I'll see you in the next one. Hope you learned something again from this one. If you haven't yet, please like, subscribe, and yeah, that's it for now. Class dismissed. I'll see you in the next one.